Picture the scene. You've bought all the books. Everyone's got a gang assembled, possibly painted. And you're ready to start your campaign. But wait, you need an arbitrator. The straws are drawn. The short one is taken last and it is yours. What do you do? Actually, it's not actually that hard.
Yeah,
you shouldn't actually be afraid of it. So let's talk about it. Hello and welcome to another Necromunda. Today we're talking about our top tips for arbitrating your first campaign. So, and we should note this is for arbitrating your first campaign. So we're going to talk, well, you'll see, a lot about what we think you should do for your first time playing, not every time you play Necromunda.
Yeah.
A lot of these rules we no longer follow, because once you get used to it, it's not actually that bad. So, tip number 1. Kiss. Keep it simple, stupid. For your first campaign, don't go overboard with the amount of stuff you want to include. So, core book, house of books, and that's it.
Leave it at that.
And that might include the gangs that you allow in your campaign, which can be a struggle, because if you're playing with a bunch of different people, maybe some of them are only really wanting to play Necromunda because they can play Corpse Grinder cults.
Right.
Or Venators. Corpse Grinder cults aren't really aren't a problem for like a first-time arbitrator. Something complicated like Venators or Outcasts, that's a little more complicated.
You can get into the weeds with that one pretty quick.
And the vibe does change based on whether it's just your first time arbitrating, but with a group of players who've been playing a lot, including yourself. But really, most of the time when people ask us about arbitrating the first campaign, it's because they've finally convinced their friend group to play Necromunda.
Nobody's played before.
And somebody's got to do it.
Yep.
And if nobody in your group has played before and you don't have any old hands to rely on, we really do suggest core book, house of books, leave the Apocrypha at home for now.
Yeah, you can have, it's like D&D 3.5. You can put, or Pathfinder, any edition. You can put book upon book upon book upon book, but it just gets harder and harder to keep track of.
Right.
Balance-wise, brain-wise, we really suggest to keep it simple.
Yes, there's what is the term? There's strict constitutionalist, and then there's loose constitutionalist, where the strict constitutionalist says only what the Constitution says exactly is legal, and the loose is like, well, no, it's what the Constitution meant. Same thing here.
Rules is written for the Constitution.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. I mean, the 200 years of political arguments can be boiled down to that. Sure. We really do recommend being a strict constitutionalist for your campaign and a prescriptive arbitrator, as in, say, core, house of, and that's it. So that way, instead of going, well, instead of trying to say you can't use this, you can't use that, you can't use this, just say, we're living in this space for this campaign. Makes your life easier, makes your players' lives easier, gives you more time to get things under your belt.
Secondarily, on the keep it simple, stupid, is house rules. I would go with very, very few changes, if any, for your first campaign. For the amount of house rules that you have, there may be some small suggestions in either how you want to run things or like some changes to skills or whatnot. I would not change very much.
Right.
Again, try and be as close to the rules as you can, and then change things if they really, really, really need it.
Warts and all.
Yep, warts and all.
Figure out the core of the system before you start messing with things.
Yes, exactly.
Now, and that one's also a little challenging because we've talked before about certain rules that we do or do not institute. For example, we don't use alliances in ours. Mostly because when we first started arbitrating, we didn't have alliances to keep it simple. And then we just never really added them in yet because nobody really wanted to in our groups.
Yep.
That's another thing that you might want to leave out, those more complicated systems.
Yeah, while that is in the house of books and like the core rules, it might be something you want to avoid as a house rule.
Right. And you can find lots of guides online about house rules you should be using in Necromunda. We're going to make one of those videos here fairly certain about of all our house rules that we use.
I think we did one, didn't we?
Yeah, but we've changed our house rules
since
since
then.
Because they're malleable.
Yeah.
And the Necromunda rules are malleable, and you can change them, and should. And you can change them mid-campaign, too. Just make sure your all players are on the same page. Speaking of, number 2.
You definitely want to make sure that everybody knows what kind of campaign we're playing. We don't want the hardcore going to tournament, like breaking the game level people going up against the fun fluffy. I want to make people, crash their face into the dirt.
Unless everyone in the campaign knows that and is on board with it.
That's why it's on the same page.
Right.
If everyone wants to be broken, or no one wants to be broken, make sure everybody is at least within like one step of each other.
Right. Or if players who are going for purely narrative just know that they're going to be playing against players who are going for purely numbers-based. Like, as long as everyone is aware of what you're doing, that's what matters. And we do want to stress, we don't mean everybody needs to be exactly the same mindset about Necromunda.
Right.
Because no two people are exactly the same mindset about Necromunda. Mitchell and I don't have the same opinions on Necromunda all the time, even when we play. But it's about coming to agreement about establishing early what kind of the vibes are. This is where a session 0 comes in mind.
Yes. Very similar to most RPGs, session 0s are very important for this kind of thing.
Establishing what campaign you're playing, what books you're using, and what kind of vibes you're going for.
Exactly.
Number 3, keep it small. And by small, what we mean is, shout out to the person who told us that they were arbitrating their first campaign with 30 people. As someone who's arbitrated, I think we've arbitrated like 5 campaigns at this point. That sounds like a lot.
Yeah, that would be daunting to me.
If you have 30 people who want to play, and by the way, I'm not calling out this person saying this is a bad idea.
Yeah. It sounds amazing.
It sounds amazing.
Also very hard.
And I told them to keep us updated. But if it is your very first time playing Necromunda with 29 other people who also want to play Necromunda for the first time, what I suggest is you split into smaller groups.
That makes sense.
And how big this group is, I can't tell you.
Yep.
Because depending on how you play and where you play, that could be maybe 6 is a good group for you. Maybe 12 is manageable for you. But don't overdo it. Both in the campaign, the number of people, the amount of stuff you have, and how long you take. We recommend, we talked about this in our favorite campaigns video of ages ago. Things have changed since then. The fact that they've added like 2 new campaigns, actually 5 new campaigns if you count each of the vaults of each of the Eranthian Succession. But tell you what, even after all the Eranthian Succession campaigns, our opinion there still holds true, which is that Dominion campaign is the best one to start with.
Exactly.
And keep it nice and short and simple. Have some fun. Then learn and move on.
Most campaigns built in actually don't say that you should have more than 8 ever.
Right.
Especially the ways that the what are they called? The places that you pick up.
Territories. Settlement. Yeah, territories.
The way that territories work is after you get so many people, it just like kind of doesn't math out by the end of it.
No.
So that kind of leads into don't change too much.
Right.
So yes, try and keep it small, and if you have a ton of people, try and make a bunch of smaller groups. It's like going to a board game party.
Yeah.
There's 40 people playing. You're not going to find too many 40 people board games. So you kind of want to separate into different groups to try.
40 people, Twilight Imperium. Let's go. That's the phrases that make me want to die.
Yeah. On to the next point. Number 4 is don't be afraid to get a little help from your players in what you should and shouldn't do, but also beware of the backseat RB.
Dun, dun, dun. And we're not talking about the meats.
We're talking about the meat?
Blurred Arby's logo goes here.
So in anything, be firm in what you're doing, but also be a little loose in what suggestions you take.
Flexible. But firm.
Flexible but firm.
Like a good
mattress.
So this is a big problem in the RPG space.
Yes.
And there is a lot of crossover. We've talked about this before between like being an arbitrator and being a DM or a GM for games.
Yes, there's crossover.
But there's a lot different.
Yeah, it's not one-to-one.
Unlike D&D, it is not your job to make up the content for your players.
I mean, you can, but don't do it for your first campaign.
Not for your first one. No.
Don't do that.
Just like in D&D, the first thing you should run is, what is it, Lost Minds of Flandelver?
Fandelver
or whatever? Yeah. Do that first.
Yeah.
And then write your own world.
Know how the game will work, know how pairings will work, how all the players interact with each other, and then go a step further.
But just like in D&D or any other, or Pathfinder, there's always the problem of the backseat DM.
Yes.
The person who has a lot of suggestions and many times can be very helpful.
Yeah.
But also just really wants to run things a certain way. And you got to be aware of that person. Because number one, if they are a player, then there is a conflict of interest.
Yeah. I think the way that my faction should work should benefit me.
Yeah, I think all Orlok stuff should be cut in half.
That's just for balance reasons.
Just for balance reasons, yeah. Clearly, my Corpse Grinder cults are not very good in melee, so I think I should get +1 strength.
Yes.
But I'm not even talking about that. Like the blatant stuff, sure. But you know what? It really is a stand up or shut up thing.
Yeah.
If somebody wants to arbitrate so badly that they have tons and tons of suggestions about how they should be doing it, congratulations, they've just volunteered to arbitrate the next campaign.
Exactly.
Let yours be yours. And there might be some interpersonal conflict with that. And unfortunately, I don't have interpersonal conflict tips for you because that's an entirely other video on an entirely different channel.
Yeah, man, I ain't qualified to give you any tips.
Interpersonal conflict rundown. Check out our sister channel, Interpersonal Conflict Rundown. But be firm in your approach. Your decision is final. But don't be a dictator.
Yeah.
Unless that's what it takes to get things running, in which case sometimes you have to do my way or highway stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is never fun. And
especially if you're with a group of friends.
That's what I was going to say. This changes a lot based on whether you are arbitrating for personal friends, like close personal friends, which is kind of what we all are.
Yeah.
That being said, I didn't know everybody when we first started.
Sure.
Like I didn't know Travis that well when we first started.
Jason.
Derek for our Trench Crusade. Like I mean, I knew these people, but I didn't know these people well.
Yeah, never played a game against them.
But I know them a lot better now.
Yeah.
Whereas if you are arbitrating, for example, like a local store or Necromunda where anybody can show up, it actually kind of gets a little backwards to where you might think, where you can afford to be a little looser and more open with your personal friends. If you are playing with strangers, sometimes you have to go my word is law.
Yes. And sometimes that means people won't like what you do, and sometimes that means people won't want to play with you anymore. But
Mitchell's getting flashbacks as a magic judge right now.
Yep. Sometimes it happens.
And I think that leads us nicely into our point number 5, our last point. Do not be afraid.
Yep.
For 2 reasons. Number 1, never let them see you bleed. Be confident.
Show fear.
No, that's not really what I mean. But really, it's not that hard to be an arbitrator.
Yeah. I was a little worried about it the first time I did it, and it's not that bad.
No. The number of times that you and I've had to actually like weigh in as arbitrators.
Yep. I
think 98% of the weighing in we've had to do is helping people decide how we're going to choose who plays who.
Yeah, that's a lot of the sandpaper rub.
Yes. Which technically has rules written.
Yeah, they're just bad.
They're just that's just a house rule that we played for the first campaign we did. We did the normal selection, which we did not like.
Yep.
And then so really all of our arbitration has been self-inflicted problems.
That's true.
It's been us going, how do we make people match up with each other? And GW goes, well, you could do it this way. And we go, no. This is so hard. How do we think of a way? And GW's like, we have a way. And we're like, no, you don't. How do we think of one?
Yeah, it is.
So do not be afraid to arbitrate. Do not be afraid to be the one saying, hey, I'll help you guys run the campaign.
Right.
Because really 98% of it is letting people know what establishment and then not much else.
Especially for your first, like when you're doing a pre-generated campaign.
Which you should do.
Which you should do first. It obviously gets a little more in-depth once you go into the future. But as your first campaign, it's not that hard.
Right. And Dominion especially really does just sort itself out.
It does.
Because with like Aranthian Succession, you got to balance the Imperial versus the, like that. With the Dark Uprising, you got to balance the food and the stuff happening.
I do want to play Dark Uprising at some point.
And that's something that we would not recommend doing as your first one.
No.
I'm also going to suggest don't do Ash Waste as your first one.
You could have stopped that sentence early. Don't do Ash Waste.
I think people will have fun with Ash Waste. I think we didn't like Ash Waste because of what it was. I still think it's not one of my highest rated campaigns.
Yeah, it's my lowest rated. Anyway, different video.
Different video that we already made. Up there. So that's our top 5 tips for arbitrating your first campaign. We'll talk more later about arbitration once you get into the weeds of Necromunda, specifically with house rules and what we recommend doing. But for your first campaign, let's recap. Keep it simple. Stick to the books and only the basics. Keep it small. Try not to run too many people at once. Try not to do too much at one time. Make sure everyone's on the same page with the vibes. Vibe check, slap. Number 4, ask for help, but be firm and beware of the backseat RVs. And number 5, no fear. It is not as hard as you think it is. And what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
The campaign doesn't go great and you do it again.
Yep.
So This is a short one today. Let us know below if you have any extra tips for people arbitrating their very first campaign. Maybe talk about your experiences. If you want to talk more about your experiences, check out our Discord linked down below. It is free to join, and we talk a lot about Necromunda and other things. And we will talk to you next time.
Bye.